Good evening, I'm Mitch Friedman, and welcome to Mind Over Matter TV, where we like to teach you and show you all different kinds of tools and tricks and really fun modalities for you to feel better, remove all those obstacles in your life, everything that's in the way of you getting what you want, and just feel better and reach some of your personal goals. So, sounds like a pretty good plan to me, don't you think, Alan?
Yes.
So we're going to do that tonight with a really good friend of mine. His name is Alan Braithwaite, and he's a licensed massage therapist, a Reiki master, and just got gifted about a year or two ago with this really wonderful new modality, new technique of healing, and he calls it Whale Dolphin Reiki. So I'm really excited to talk about it because I just had my session and it was really, really wonderful. So Alan, tell us a little bit about Whale Dolphin Reiki. Like, I know you started out doing Reiki or started out doing massage and got to be a Reiki master, and then it sort of shifted and changed and transitioned. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
It shifted and changed from what I hate to term as regular Reiki to working with who I call the whale guardian, who is an orca whale that I have been fortunate enough to open communication with, and he has brought through me this new Reiki that is used to help in different ways, opening new pathways, new neural pathways, balancing the body, and opening our multi-dimensional layers.
Wow.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, and it's so cool. So, you know, we've talked about regular Reiki. I know you don't like that term, but, you know, in regular Reiki, I do Reiki as well. There's symbols and it's hands-on and, you know, you're just channeling energy from the universe to come through you and heal this person. And so when you're doing Whale Reiki, the first thing I noticed, I kept sitting there, I kept laying on the table going, okay, any minute it's going to start. And because hands-on, I mean, immediately the hands go on the head. And so I was kind of curious, like, well, where is he? What's going on? So obviously this isn't a hands-on. It's on a massage table, but it's not hands-on. So is it different energy? Are there symbols? Are you sending whale energy? Like, what's happening?
There's a connection. Usually the whale guardian is above the table and connects with the client. There's usually a dolphin that I do a meditation before I see the client, and it is explained to me then what crystals to work with, what dolphins are going to be there, what whales are going to be there, what's going to happen during the session, and what is needed, whether it's balancing, whether it's just simply balancing the chakras, whether it's grounding to, and it's a different grounding than I think most people are used to. It's a deeper grounding to the core of the earth, the crystalline core of the earth, to where we each have our own individual crystal, and connecting with that, and then connecting with the heartbeat of the earth, and gaining respect for the earth through that heartbeat, and really becoming one with the earth. And that heartbeat resonates with the whales and the dolphins through the water.
So what a wonderful gift for us to be able to get that energy through the dolphins for us, because, you know, when you're talking about this, whales, dolphins, it doesn't get more earthy to me and more grounded and just more, it's like sensual Mother Earth, you know? So what a perfect way to get some of that energy. And I love that you talk about like the grounding, because I've done different, from acutonics to bio-amethyst mats and you know, dolphin talks and all different Mayan calendar, all these different people, and I'm asking, so what do we need to do? And everybody keeps saying we need to like respect Mother Earth, we need to appreciate and honor, you know, the earth, and we need to get grounded and really get a sense of just balance. And what a perfect timing for this to show up, you know. Was it a big shock? I know a lot of people that I know that are doing work, and all of a sudden there's this like thing going on in their head going, you need to do this now, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like, what was your experience with that?
It was very shocking at first, that this was coming through to me
Hey, I've got whales
And-
talking to me now.
And what I was supposed to do with it, because it was not specific at first. It was very vague, the information that was coming through of, well, this is, you're going to be just doing some balancing and doing this, and you need to put it out there. And I'm not that kind of a person. I need the specifics of what's going on, how am I going to get it out there, what am I, how do I talk about it. It was about 3 months that we just sort of went back and forth, and finally there was just like, trust. This is what needs to be done. Do a meditation before we lead you through it. We're going to be there with you. So that is how it started, and I sent out postcards to friends and offered a bunch of free ones at first, just to get a sort of a grip on what actually was going to happen in these sessions.
Right.
As opposed to doing my own session on myself. I needed feedback from clients.
And it's a great way. I know when I started doing hypnosis, I put it out there, same kind of thing, and I offered everybody a free session. And I actually said, this is really about me. This is about me getting comfortable with the process.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to have a great experience, but this is really about me building confidence and understanding, like, okay, what do I say, where do I go, what do I do, and what's the protocol, and I'm sure with Reiki, or with this whale dolphin Reiki, just like any sessions, it's always, there's so much intuition. In fact, when you say the word trust, kudos to you, because I really appreciate when people are able to just go, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I see the benefit for people. I know it's a little bit out of the box, but I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to be doing. And trust, and the T word, it comes up for me a lot. So A+,
Yeah,
Alan.
thank you. And what was nice about those was getting the validation back from the client, from clients, who did all those free ones, that what happened during the session or within the session validated what I was getting, what we were doing. Either there would be times when I would get something in the meditation that, I would just sit back and think, oh, I don't know about this. And then when I'd sit down, the client would come in and I'd sit down, and that little voice would be like, well, go ahead. You need to verify this with them. So you need to,
It's
speak.
time to bring it up.
It's time to speak. And I would bring it up, and they'd be like, sometimes they would be right there with it. And other times they would sit for a minute and not really say anything, and like, okay, you're kind of bizarre, but... And then about 5 minutes later, then they'd be like, oh, well,
Yeah, isn't that
blah,
a
blah,
trip?
blah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
a trip when that shows up like that? Sometimes I get little voices in my head when I'm doing sessions, and you need to say this, and I'm like, I'm not saying that, and I don't have an option. In order to benefit the client, I have to say it, and I get that, and as soon as I say it, they're like, how did you know that? And so it's intuition. We're all one. We're all connected. So it really does take that level of trust. So like I said, A+, because I know sometimes trusting when it's a whole new modality and bringing something new into the world. I've never heard of whale dolphin Reiki before.
And I am neither. So.
Yeah, it's fun. In fact, I met Alan a couple of months ago. You may have remembered I did an interview with Janice Otero, the dolphin lady in Albuquerque, and she was telling me all about these great sessions she had with Alan. So I'm like, okay, this sounds too good to pass up for me and for the audience. Like I said, I feel like one of my jobs is helping to connect the community to people like you, that are doing all that, because it's all about energy, Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah. It is. It's all about energy, and my experience was really interesting, because as soon as I laid on the table and you started doing your work, I felt like, I even mentioned it. I said, I feel like the table just went all the way down to the ground, and I was laying on the ground, and little by little, I just merged into the earth. It was a really cool kinesthetic. I'm very kinesthetic, so for me it was very kinesthetic, and I was thinking, so where are the dolphins? Am I supposed to be seeing dolphins? Like, where are they? But the one thing I did notice, and we talked about this, is this real intense presence of this orca whale. And it felt like, I don't know if you guys have seen the Chronicles of Narnia, and there's the lion called Aslan, and he's just like Aslan. I don't even, what can you say about Aslan? He's the king of the jungle, you know?
This presence.
Yeah, and everybody respects and honors him, and he has this job to do of making everything okay, and that's what this felt like. I felt like, I could totally relax. I've got this orca whale making sure everything's okay, you know. It felt so good, and it did feel really grounding. So we're talking about opening up the heart. You talked about grounding to these personal crystalline structures, and you also talked about Shambhala. So just give us an idea of we're doing all this stuff, what's going on, and what's the benefit of all that for us?
The benefit of besides grounding with the core of the earth, and then making the connection with Shambhala, which is a temple in the etheric realm that we all take lessons at periodically at night when we sleep. And
so that's where I'm going when I'm sleeping.
And this opens up these multidimensional layers. It makes and opens the heart chakras and makes us more whole as a human, makes us more compassionate, makes us more respectful and more connected to the earth and her rhythms.
And I think that's the key for us now, is to get out of that limited thinking about what we can do to feel better and jump into wonderful modalities and have the dolphins and whales help us.
Yes. One of the things that I learned when I was first started this was, for myself, was that aspect of, you know, when we sleep, we go to different realms, we go here and we go there, and when we wake up, we're back, and never really put the thought to it. But what I have found through the whale and dolphin Reiki work is that it opens up so that these other layers, these other multidimensional pieces or places that I'm working in, they're all continually happening as I wake up and I'm dealing with issues here in this three-dimensional world, that my other lives, so to speak, are all simultaneously going on.
Yeah, I know it's tough. I remember the first time I ever read Seth Speaks. Have you ever read any of the Seth material?
Yes.
And that was a concept that came up, is it's all happening simultaneously. And I loved the concept, but it took me a long time, and I read the book like 2 or 3 times so I could find those chapters till I could finally get my head around that. Talking about, we have no idea how deep and how many layers this is.
What we're all affecting.
Yeah, I mean, they even say, you know, we always talk about stuff like, you know what, I learned in school that if a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, then we have a typhoon in you know, New Mexico. And we all know these things, and we blab when we teach them and we say them, but we don't really embrace what that means. I mean, butterfly flaps its wings, what it must affect for us to have a hurricane in New Mexico is pretty overwhelming. And so shifting something in our body, just shifting energy, opening up your heart, getting grounded to those crystals that are all about you, can really shift and change things in our life, just like that hurricane in New Mexico when the butterfly's flapping its wings in Japan, you know? So, yeah, pretty cool. I really want to just appreciate you for, number one, doing this, even though you were the only one doing it and had no idea what you were getting yourself into, so A+ for that. And for just talking about it on the show. And I'm excited about getting stuff like this out to the world and up on YouTube and all over the place. So
Well, I thank you
for
that opportunity to get this information.
Yeah.